What's up, everybody? HolliwoodKole here. Today we are going to give you guys a little bit of an update about what's going on in the video game news. We're going to talk about how the E3 got accidentally leaked, some of the games up and coming from that, also how Sega just can't seem to make any good decisions. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HnK Video Game Experience. We are glad you can join us. This is HolliwoodKole here with Kleerfyre yet again. Welcome back, man. Glad you're not sick this time.
I am so glad I'm not sick. I can finally actually talk. I was almost a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, where I had almost no voice. It's terrible.
Yeah, we had a good time doing the Street Fighter one, but I think you could have added a lot to it. We've talked about it a little bit, but we'll get in there with Coach again. Edgy's cool with doing another one as well, so look forward to some more podcasts with some more of those guests as some of our fan favorites there. And we'll get something out as soon as we can with that, come up with a topic that everybody can agree on. And thinking about doing a kind of thing to where we play a retro game. We kind of announce one, like let's just say, whatever, we just did Ninja Turtles, say Ninja Turtles, and then we all play it for a week and then just kind of get our experience on that. That's more of a kind of a review a little bit, but something that might be interesting. What do you think about that?
I'm cool with that. That'd be fun.
But
I'm kind of getting burned out on some of the games I'm playing, so that'd be a good change of pace.
Yeah, it could be good. So anyway, there's a lot of good news that we're going to talk about today, and that's what we're going to kind of cover today, just some stuff in the news. We did it. The last news that we did was 30 November, and I think we had a big plan to do it every month, do a news one or something, but we've had to slow down on the podcast a little bit, and we're starting to pick back up. We just had to do a temporary hiatus where we were like every other week or every 3 weeks or so, but now we're trying to get back to at least once every 10 days or so if we can. That once a month news had kind of been pushing at that point. Otherwise, we just do news only,
Yeah.
So we're glad to get out there. There's a lot of stuff on the news, and I saw that there's a lot of stuff that we post to our Facebook for the news. Mm-hmm. And what do you got? Anything else, man? What have you been up to since we hadn't heard from you in a while?
Death. I had the plague running through me. That's about the only thing. I've just been trying to recover. There's really not much else I can say. I've touched video games a little bit, but, even while being sick, usually I used to play video games while I was sick. This time, dude, I almost had pneumonia, so it was like the worst sickness I've had in a while, and so I pretty much laid up in the bed.
Yeah. You didn't go to work or anything?
No, I didn't go to work for a while because I went and did that conference in St. Louis, came back from it, and then got sick, and so I was pretty much down for out of work for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks.
Is that like a normal so is that a normal sickness time for you? Because that seems like excessive. Is that like because it's stuff that stemmed from when you were young or whatever?
It was way excessive, more than normal. Basically all the fluid in my sinuses draining down, it actually started draining into my lungs, and so I almost got pneumonia from it. So I just had to hunker down and not do anything and hopefully cough it up. So
yeah.
But yeah, the pneumonia part does span from my childhood. Before I actually moved to Forest and met you, I was actually in the hospital 4 times in 1 year for pneumonia.
So that just means you're more susceptible to...
Way more, yeah. My
lungs are more sensitive?
Yeah, anytime I get sick, it automatically starts draining into my chest, and so I have to be extremely careful. This time, it happened literally overnight. It was, like I said, it's the worst I've ever had in the past probably 15 years.
Yeah.
So, but I'm on the mends. I'm finished up my antibiotic today, so I had to take it for 14 days. That was how bad it was. So,
jeez, dude.
Yep.
Well, So before we got on, you said something about you've been playing a little bit of Destiny. You're gonna do a fireside chat. So let's go ahead and what are we gonna do? What's the fireside chat?
So fireside chat's a lot like what HolliwoodKole did with his Smooth Ramblings, where I'm gonna get a chance to basically give you a podcast of just me talking about either a game, something going on in the news, about gaming, something like that, and just diving deeper into it, giving you a little more opinionated view on it. I probably might be a little more harsh than what I am on the normal podcast, just because that's where I'm going to kind of let go a little bit. So if I let go a little too far, I will put a parental warning on it. Hopefully it won't be that far, but it will be me a little more uncut and a little more raw on some outlooks on some games. And the first one I'm going to do is my review of the DLC from Destiny 2 that just dropped, Warmind. And boy, I've already got some words about that. So
you've played 4 of the 12 missions already?
Incorrect. I have played 2 of the 4 missions.
Oh,
there are only 4.
Like, wow.
There are only 4 story missions in this new DLC. I'm just yeah.
And does that surprise anybody?
Yes and no. I mean,
so I didn't keep up with it. So did they say it's going to be more this time? What was the hype train behind this one? What was this supposed to do?
The hype train was just more of trying to get it aligned with more of like the way Destiny 1 was. And the first thing I noticed was when I'm playing it, of course, they reskin the Hive in this one and say that they're special frozen Hive. Now they have ice on them. Oh yeah, stupid. It's ridiculous. So. But when I'm sitting there playing it, and the first little thrall that runs up to me, I'm like, did they forget to add graphics to this thing? This looks like, PS3, maybe even PS2 graphics. It was just a terrible character model. It looks bad. I just put a post up not too long ago on Instagram that was of Tobey Maguire when he played Spider-Man putting glasses on and off. Yeah, and so it was just so funny because he's like putting his glasses on and off, and it says "quote unquote" new enemies, and it's that Thrall, and you can see right there how bad the graphics are from. Yeah. It regressed from D1 to D2, so that's what kills me. It's like, why are we having such this regression? And that's been my whole gripe about D2. It's been nothing but a regression in every aspect. Yes, there are some graphics that make it look fantastic, but when you get down to the character models are actually pretty crappy. So you'll get to hear me rant about that more on the fireside chat, and that'll be coming out soon. I'm gonna try to play. So what I want to do before I do the fireside chat is I want to play through all of the Warmind story missions, because that's to me the story missions. I like that. I like the story, playing story and playing a game like that. And then I'm going to play their new thing called Escalation Protocol, which is supposed to be pretty fun from what I understand. It's kind of a Prison of Elders, and it's kind of not. Where you had Prison of Elders and you had this different levels that you had to go through and everything to get to the final boss and have that fight. Well, it's kind of that same theory, but it's more of a wave type fighting enemies where you're sitting in a spot and wave 1 comes at you, then wave 2, then wave 3, and more enemies come each time. And so not so much as Prison of Elders, because you did go to separate places each time. Throughout it, and it wasn't just this mass like.
So it's Prison of Elders, but only one section of Prison of Elders over and over again.
Basically, yeah, and it's supposed to be a lot of fun because the way they've set it up is you can go in with your fire team of 3, like with 3 people like normal, but then it's in a public event area, so you can have other people that are just in your excuse me, in your local server come in and actually participate with you. So I mean, you can have up to. It's kind of like a blend between Prison of Elders and Archeon's Forge. So it's kind of like a blend between those two. But with waves and waves and waves of enemies. So it's it's a neat concept. I do look forward to playing that because that seems like that might be fun. But they did initiate a lot of different things to the game that, yes, I like and yes, I don't. I do like the fact that you have to do in-game activities now to get to top level. You can't hit, which is the top light level now is 385. You can't get to 385 without doing in-game activities. You have to do in-game activities now to get it.
Or what's the other way?
Oh god, in D2 you could basically just play the game and get there. You could get blue Ingrams, you could get all the way up to top level.
But you're
you know, I
still
saw some
doing in-game activities. So what do you mean? To get
in-game activities is like Raid, Trials of Osiris, Escalation Protocol might be part of that, but I don't even think Escalation Protocol is part of that. But but I think the only way that you can get up there is through the Raid, through Trials, or through the milestone activities that you do each week.
You said end game. I thought you were saying end. I thought you were saying end game, like IN game.
No,
like
END.
I got
END, like end.
Yeah, that's the way
game.
it's supposed to be. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the way it's supposed to be. But before this DLC, it wasn't like that.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah, that was.
And
terrible.
so it was terrible. It was just it's total crap. And so
is this the second DLC that's out for it?
This is the second DLC. So
now we got the new Taken King type coming
basically,
out. Basically,
right? and they even are playing with it like that too. So I'm just like, oh gosh, this is just going to be.
This one's going to fix everything.
Yeah, it's I'm not too happy with the direction and everything. I mean, it's just, why are we having to relive it? You know, but I don't want to get too. I don't want to get too deep.
Your fireside chat thunder.
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into it because it's gonna.
But I was just interested in it because I haven't gotten it since the base game. That was enough for me to say, yeah, I'm not going to be fooled by this nonsense here. And I was kind of feeling that way at D1 until Taken King came out, and I said, okay, they figured it out. And then the other expansions were just kind of like, meh, they were okay. And then when D2 came out, and it was just a rehash of Year 1 Destiny. It's like, wow, you learned nothing and implemented nothing. Why are you going backwards? And so I was done with it. I figured it was just a cash grab, which it pretty much is. And so never got any of the new expansions. But so you have the season pass is why you're getting all the expansions. So how deep,
exactly?
How deep does it go? Is this your last one?
This is my last one. So I really don't think I'm gonna jump on the train in September and get and pay the $40 to get more. I think I'm gonna leave it as is right now because I'm just not happy with the state of it. So and like I said, I'll delve more in that on the fireside chat. But yeah, it's not looking good for me to continue playing Destiny. I've had a lot more fun playing Monster Hunter World, and if they keep on doing what they're doing with that game, then I'm going to stay with that one for quite a while. So
yeah, cool.
And then plus too, this fall there's a ton of games coming out too. So
yep, and there's I look forward to hearing that fireside chat about that. I mean, but what we're going to talk about today, the news, it's hard to justify playing a game that's just so mediocre. From what I'm about to say from my part of the news, if you don't say it. But anyway, I don't know. We don't know what we're going to say of each other's news, so that's designed on purpose so we can ask questions or whatever. So what do you got, man? You want to go ahead and jump into it?
Yeah, I'll jump into it. I'll jump flat into it. I'm gonna jump into it with a big one right off the bat. Nintendo Switch is getting hit with a patent infringement lawsuit.
Yeah.
So that's a big bad thing. The company Games Vice wants to actually put a ban on Nintendo importing Switches. So if that happens, then that means there's no more Nintendo Switches for us, and that's a big issue, considering that in its first 8 months it outsold what the PlayStation 4 did. PlayStation 4 did around 14 million units in its first 8 months, if I'm not mistaken, remembering the numbers, and the Nintendo Switch did 17 million. So I mean, and we're still within the first year of the Nintendo Switch, or we're right at the cusp of it being out right out a year. So I mean, this is big news. You know, if they hit and they land with it, then that means that, you know, Nintendo's taking a huge slap.
Yeah, I don't know much about the infringement. Or it's probably something with the. I know that. Let's just try to think here for a minute. I know that somebody tried to sue them at one point for saying that, you know, we've had the Joy-Cons that can hook onto the side of your iPhone or something along those lines for a long time, and you just copied us. And they're just trying.
So that's kind of where it's playing from. Games Vice has this device called the WikiPad out. They've had it out. They released it 5 years ago. Basically, it's a frame that goes around any tablet that you have. I'm not sure. I didn't look too far into it. I was just reading more of the details of what's going on. And basically, you lock your pad in, and now you've got controller style for your games that you would get on Android or iPad or whatnot. So it really wasn't a gaming device. It was just more to make gaming on your phone a little more comfortable, or on your tablet a little more comfortable. But they say that the whole thing of them being able to detach that off and on of that tablet is where their patent infringement's coming in. I've seen the device. It's one solid piece. It's not two separate controllers or anything. So it's like, where are you really getting this whole thing of you're infringing on our patent? I don't get it, because from what I was reading in this article, and I'll post the article up after, since we're now talking about it. But on the article, it was like, well, if this happens and they actually get, they get ruled in favor of the patent infringement, then you're looking at a case of where the person that originally designed the first controller can sue everybody that's ever made a controller from then on out, because it's just like most controllers have all of the same concepts of joysticks, the directional pad, the buttons, and the bumper buttons, and all of that. So I mean, they all have basically the same components, just all in different configurations. And so they're talking about how is GamesVice lawsuit going to do anything good for them, considering that when you look at the two devices, it's like they don't really resemble each other, other than the fact of when they're clicked onto the tablets. Whereas Nintendo Switch is a full-blown gaming system, the WikiPad that they have is just a device to click on, a paraphernalia to click on to your tablet that you already have, your Android tablet or whatnot. And so it's a real sketchy thing. But we'll see what comes out of it. They started off in the fall, if I'm not mistaken, with an actual lawsuit, trying to get any type of legal thing done. And then it kind of got thrown out just off the top, because there was really, it wasn't a true lawsuit at that point. So they turn around and they contact the patent office, and they get the patent office started investigating Nintendo. So that's where they're at right now, is with the patent office investigating Nintendo for possible patent infringement. So if they find anything, then of course they're going to move forward with the lawsuit. If they don't find anything, that's just going to fall to the wayside. And most likely what's going to happen, and what I feel like is going to happen, Nintendo is going to say, here's a bunch of money, leave me alone.
Well, that's what they're trying to. So there's two things that could be happening. They're either trying to get a settlement like that, which is probably the most likely, but just because the patent is not necessarily going to be on the controller itself. It's what they call like a utility patent, where our patent is on the ability to hook on controllers to some type of portable device in a screen.
Exactly.
So that's the utility of it. And so if Nintendo says, no, we're doing it, and they say, hey, you can't do that without our approval, or so on and so forth. If it's legitimate, then they're going to settle. If it's not, I mean, whatever. But I doubt it slows Nintendo down, my personal opinion.
Well, let's hope not. Let's hope not, but you never know. I mean, it just really depends on what a judge decides to say if it goes to court. If it doesn't go to court and it stays within just the investigation, then one of two things will happen. Either the patent office will find that there's not enough evidence to go forward to say that Nintendo actually infringed on any patent, or Nintendo will just get tired of it going on and say, look, here's you some money, go away. So one of those two things are going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, big companies like that get sued all the time just for people trying to grab money. That's why they got a team of lawyers waiting for that crap. I mean, GTA 5 got sued by, what's her name?
Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, because the picture of the girl, oh, that's me. And they're like, no, we took it from this girl here. We already have, but...
Well, you had that, and then you had The Last of Us had that happen with the girl that played in Juno. I can't even think of her name now.
Yeah, it does look like her, though.
Well, yeah, it does look like her, but still, she had no merit on it. There was no proof. They didn't, on the lawsuit, they didn't prove anything. So, but it's one of those things where who knows how is it going to turn out, but it's just something to keep your eye out on the news, because if something does happen in a negative way, then Nintendo is going to be greatly affected by this. And speaking of the Switch, something that I saw today that's kind of exciting for me, that actually is driving me towards really, really considering purchasing a Switch, is Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate is coming out for the Switch.
It's a special Monster Hunter. No other.
Yeah, it's like Monster Hunter Generations that was on the 3DS, the Nintendo 3DS.
Okay.
That one it's basically in essence the same game, just with everything in it. You can actually transport your save from the 3DS over to the Switch, so you really wouldn't have to start over anything. But since Nintendo was actually the one that kind of helped keep Monster Hunter from dying off, because from what I understand is Sony originally had Monster Hunter and they started jacking up the developer prices for the people that were developing Monster Hunter for Capcom, and they ended up almost not being able to put out a new Monster Hunter at one time, and that whenever they switched over to the Nintendo was when Nintendo came in and said, hey, we can do it for a lesser price, come on over here, we'll let you develop it over here. So it's just been one of those things, and it looked really cool because it's like, I like all these crazy monsters, and they're allowing you to either play it solo or online with people, kind of like with what Monster Hunter World is doing now. So that's a good addition now. You can play online and everything. So it looks like some of our people are going to go over to, some of our people that are in our squad are going to go over to Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm saying that one right. And go over to that. That drops August 28th of this year.
There's a lot of good stuff about the Switch that people are saying it's their favorite console, and the stuff that I learned today. If I didn't have so much coming up in the next couple months, I would have gone and gotten one today. I seriously would have. Starting September, they have the Nintendo Online, basically, is coming out 2018. So they're having the Nintendo Online Store, or whatever, coming out. And Nintendo Online is the same thing. Like, I think it's called Nintendo Online, but it's the same thing as like PSN, Xbox Live, except for it's only $20 a year. And so everybody goes,
oh, nice.
Yeah, everybody goes, that's great, but I guarantee you they're going to up it, and I guarantee you would pay for it after what I'm about to tell you. So what it is, it's just awesome. So they have they got 20 NES games coming out at first, and it's like Icebreaker, Super Mario Brothers, there's the regular Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong, stuff like that, Mario 3, all the classic, almost like black box NES games and stuff. But here's the kicker: they'll be online, so you can play 2 players online with other Switch users.
That's awesome.
Think about that for a second. Okay, so now we got Contra. Hey, we're going to release Contra out there. If you want the third-party package,
yes,
we're assuming they're going to go, you want third-party package, it's $30 or whatever. Can you imagine, though, Super Mario Kart for Super NES online?
Insane. That's awesome.
Mario 64. Super Mario Kart 64, Wave Race, all these games online, which I would pay like $100 a year to play.
Super Smash Brothers, dude.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, man.
Oh my gosh! that's off the chain right there. That drives me to even more to want to get a Switch.
It's ridiculous, and so that's on the horizon. That's on September 2018. That's when the NES games come out. They're going to constantly add to it. They don't know, there's no other, like, when's the Super Nintendo coming out? When's the 64? You can expect that to come out. And then there's another unique feature they're talking about, like Zelda. Zelda's one of the games too. So I say we get Zelda. I buy it or you buy it too, and you got a Switch. I can play it, and then I can switch off the control to you and just watch you play it while I'm it's just got the switching the control over, and just on a whim. That's pretty cool. You can just watch somebody else play, and you want to take the control here. I'll watch you play through the game, and if you have a problem with that one part or something like that, switch it to the guy that's better at it. Let him finish that part. Whatever. Yeah. It's just a whole unique novelty.
I want to see how they'd pull that off, because PlayStation tried to pull that off. I never used the feature. They technically have the feature to do that on the PlayStation 4, but I don't think it got widely adopted, and I don't think a lot of people use that. But like with all these old retro games, that'd be fantastic, because I know there was parts that I played that I got past that you couldn't, and you got past parts that I couldn't, and vice versa. It was just one of those things where you handed the controller to your buddy, said, hey, finish this section real quick, because I can't get past it. I've died a billion times. So, that would be awesome.
Yeah, one thing that they're doing that I do like, actually. I mean, a lot of people don't like it, but there's no voice chat capability on the Switch itself. You have to go through a app that they're going to release on your phone, so then you can chat. So some people are upset over it for the adults and all this, but I like it. I don't get on the headset anyway unless I'm on a party usually. Not counting Monster Hunter where we play together, but if I'm playing Call of Duty, I won't even get on the headset usually.
I'm about 50-50 with that. It's when I game, I always have the volume muted on my TV and have my headset going. I've got an Astro A50s, and so I've got the great surround sound in them. So, and two, I play at night, so I don't want to disturb anybody sleeping in the house. So, but as far as chat goes, my mic's a flip up for mute, flip down for talk. So I've always got it flipped up until somebody says something that I feel like I got to respond to. So, I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 on it because I've kind of gotten used to talking to people when I play games. But then again, I go and play Assassin's Creed and lost 5 hours of my life when I thought that I was, only playing for an hour and a half, just riding a freaking camel shooting stuff and never talking to anybody on that. So that's, it can kind of be, I think it's kind of a double-edged sword. They've got to be careful with that just because people are getting so used to talking to people while gaming. So
yeah, I go with an intent. I mean, you got the app. You can still talk. You just have to do it a different way.
But it just depends on how it depends on how cumbersome it is to use the app. If it's a pretty easy thing where it's just okay, turn your app on, now you can talk to whoever with a headset, then great, no big deal. But if it's like you got to do this to sync to here, to this to sync to that, then it's just all in how they implement it. As long as they don't do a big crazy thing where you have to do all these different codes to sync it, because sometimes I know like when you log into different places, especially on my phone, I've got two-factor authentication on almost everything. So all the time when I log into something that I haven't logged into in a while, I've got to go to my phone and put in code. So I'm not knocking the idea of using your phone for it. It's just how they implement it. As long as they don't make it cumbersome, I think it'd be okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just going to be solely used for chat. And maybe used to push some Nintendo news here and there too. But I think that's going to be an awesome thing, man. And all the new Switch stuff that's out. I mean, there's already like a handful of games I would get right off the bat. Mario versus Rabbids and Mario Odyssey.
Super Mario. Yeah, Odyssey looks great. Breath of the Wild looks great.
Yeah,
which you've already played on Wii U.
And then I'll probably get that Street Fighter after me and Coach was talking about Street Fighter.
Street Fighter does look fun. Like I've been contemplating getting it on PS4. I mean, there's a game right now called For Honor that's only $20 on PS4 right now. It's basically medieval combat, and I've been debating on getting it before it goes off sale.
Yeah, that came out for free for the PlayStation Network at one point. That's how I got it. I hadn't played it yet.
Did it?
Yeah.
God, I must have missed that then.
Yeah, because I almost bought the game. And I just happened to scroll through my library and I was like, oh, I already got it. And I remember it came out for free. Because they were having a lot of problems with the server and people cheating and stuff. And then they fixed it all and revamped it and released it, which is awesome for them to do that, to take that care of the game.
It is. I mean, you don't see developers actually step in and do that kind of thing anymore. Usually if a game goes crap, they just kind of let it go crap until they release a DLC way down the road. Most people don't just jump in and handle stuff right off the bat. I mean, that's the way that Destiny's doing now. They're like, all right, fine, we're just going to let it slip until our next fix or whatever. Yeah, but once again, I'm going to leave them alone until I do my fireside chat. Yeah, y'all are going to have fun with this one, with this fireside chat. So
what else you got for the news?
So another good one. Okay, so everybody knows that E3 is right around the corner. It happens early June everywhere. So we're about a month out from E3. So we know a lot of games are going to be announced and dropped and all this great stuff. We're going to hear all these fantastic things. You're probably going to see more about Red Dead Redemption 2 and just all kinds of other games. But Walmart Canada went a little on the goofy side, and they accidentally released unannounced E3 games.
Oh, so Walmart! Come on.
They released an ad that basically has the games, and when you pull it up, it's already on our Facebook page. It's on there. It's been on there for 5 hours. But when you pull it up, they literally have the list. I mean, you basically can see what they're going to talk about at E3 because it's got them all, and it basically says, let's see, Yeah, I mean, it's got everything on there. It's just
Fantasy
crazy.
VII remake on there.
Oh yes, it's on there.
Oh, good. They need to update that.
Oh yeah,
everybody's forgotten about that.
They got everything. Just Cause 4, Final Fantasy VII remake, an Assassin's Creed title, the NBA's, Tom Clancy's Division 2, Grand Theft Auto stuff.
Oh, Division 2 could be cool.
Borderlands 3. I mean, it's just all. I mean, it's like if you go and look at it, you're going to be like, oh, this might actually be a good E3. And then also, too, there's supposed to be, I forgot who it was, but somebody's having a conference right before E3 at the conference center there at E3 in LA or San Diego. I forget where they're at. But it's supposed to be announcing some big stuff, so be prepared for that. A lot of rumors going around on Final Fantasy VII Remake right now. They're saying it's far off, but then there's rumors that it's going to drop the end of this year, first of next year.
No way, man.
So we don't really know. It's just like, okay, what's going on? And once again, I posted another article on our Facebook page about it because it's pretty interesting reading it too, because it's one of the developers that just recently got released from the game, from developing on the game, was like, oh yeah, they've got a ton of stuff and we did ton of things for them, but they just wanted to go a different direction in it. So it sounds like the person that the company that was mainly working on it for Square Enix wasn't developing at the pace they wanted, and so that's why things have changed and they went and got new developers and everything like that. So
I just hadn't seen anything. If it's coming out in 6 months, you would think that you'd have some type of some kind of trailer other than just the original one that was 5 years ago.
Well, you would, but also, too, look at Borderlands 3. There's rumors it's going to drop at the end of this year, and all we have is very small tidbits of it, just like Final Fantasy VII. So, could they be in the same place? The amount of content that you have for Borderlands 3 is the same amount of content that you have for Final Fantasy VII out right now. There's no difference between the two, and I actually would probably say that Final Fantasy VII has a little more proof of how well the game's already built versus
first it's still just a rumor
Borderlands 3
that it's going to come out at the end of the year for Borderlands. I would be very surprised at that. But two, Final Fantasy VII Remake was something that everybody's been wanting forever. So the hype train is in full force.
Oh yeah,
and you're gonna closet this game and just treat it just like a normal release. I don't think so. So I don't know. I just don't think they have enough. There's just enough different stuff to show, or they just. I mean, I don't know. I don't pretend to know how to market, but I just think that something like that would be better off. Just we're keeping everybody excited about it. I mean, why would you want to not do that?
Well, I mean, to your point, the exact same thing they're doing with Borderlands 3. It's a very hyped game. There's a lot of people out there that wants Borderlands 3. It's just like when you start looking at Grand Theft Auto. There's a ton of people that are clamoring for a new Grand Theft Auto. Now, granted, the Grand Theft Auto, they did it 5. They did a fantastic job with making it a viable game for a long time. I mean, it's been out, 5 years, and still people are still playing the full out of that game?
Yep, 5 years. I think.
How long has it been since they've released a Borderlands?
Yeah, but I mean, people played Borderlands on Xbox 360. That's when it first came out, and Valve or whoever that is, 2K. That's just the way they do business. But it's completely different from a 20-year-old game, 97, Final Fantasy VII, and everybody's been wanting. They already revealed it. Boom, here you go. And that's not like a sequel. You know what I'm saying? That's a standalone deal. Borderlands already has its following. They got their old games to fill in. Final Fantasy VII, boom, here it is. And then it's gone. And everybody's like, okay, is it going to get made or not? Oh, yeah, by the way, we'll get out this year, we promise. Well, can we see any of it? Nope. It's kind of just I think the Japanese marketing machine has done weirder things. I get it. There's a lot of other things I'm going to talk about here in a minute. But, it very well could. But I'm going to be willing to bet. I'm going to say it's not coming out at the end of the year.
Well, it probably isn't, too. I agree that way, too. But, I have to say to your points there saying, that, Final Fantasy VII, 20-year-old game, yes, it is. But, God, it's got a following from all of your Final Fantasy people. It's not just limited to people that played Final Fantasy VII. It's people throughout the entire thing.
No, I don't disagree at all. It's the only people that played Final Fantasy VII, because if you hadn't played Final Fantasy VII, it's another Final Fantasy game. I love Final Fantasy, it's another game, but if you played Final Fantasy VII before and that spurred a lot of the RPG. That basically bolted the RPG genre into existence. So that's people's very first experience for that. Those people are on a different level than people that just like Final Fantasy.
I still think you can do a direct comparison between Borderlands and Final Fantasy. I really do, because Borderlands is a smaller group. You only got 3 titles for it, but with you still got a mad, insane following with Borderlands as you do with that, because Borderlands has got an amazing lore behind it. It's got a lot of stuff behind there. You're looking at the sirens there that you drag you into the lore, and it's all throughout all games. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, just like in Final Fantasy, you have Chocoboos, Moggles, and summonings all throughout them that are all throughout those games that tie the games together, that make people want to go back to those games to even see just those tidbits like that. So, I mean, I really feel like that you can do a comparison between the two.
Well, a video game fan, and if you're a fan of Borderlands or BioShock or Assassin's Creed, you can say that for every game. But I'm telling you, it's on a different level. The Final Fantasy original nostalgia, that's like saying Nintendo fans are on the same level as if you've played a Nintendo Switch, you're just as much of a fan of the Nintendo as people that grew up with the system.
Well, I'm not knocking the nostalgia part of it. I'm just saying that you could very easily say that Final Fantasy VII is not an isolated fan thing. There's not isolation in just saying. I'm not saying
that they're only fans. They're going to have the more devout fans for sure.
So, well,
anyway,
I guess that's one of our argument points.
So, I'm going to go ahead and jump since we're talking about kind of like things that the Japanese are doing. Sega, and there's a book out called Console Wars. If you haven't read it, it's pretty good. It's got a lot of good information on there. It's about the Super Nintendo and Sega wars and how Tom Klaczynski, I think, I might be messing his name up. I think it's Tom Klaczynski, took over as the head guy for Sega of America and tried to beat Nintendo. And he ended up, and they did. They got a bigger market share, even when the Super Nintendo was out, and he did it with his way to do it. And it talks about how he would go back to the Sega of Japan and ask for certain things, and they're like, no, they don't want to do it. And how the cultural differences are in there, and kind of how it hindered his vision. Of course, it's just from his point of view. The dialogue in there is just made up. He has a general idea, and it's kind of terrible. It's almost like pretty humorous how terrible it is, but it is a good book. But kind of seeing this kind of stuff, it's kind of like no wonder Sega kind of fell off the wagon here after Dreamcast and this whole thing. But I use this to launch into the new Sega console Mini that's coming out. It's the Mega Drive Mini. Mm-hmm. And so the problem is they've already released the Sega Genesis Mini last year, and it's made by a company called AtGames. And AtGames is notoriously cheap, for lack of a better word. So the music sounds weird. It's framed. You can't play Sonic in it because you're just skipping around while you're going around the loop-de-loop and so on and so forth. You can use your normal controllers. You can play video games, and there's emulators. It comes with 80 games, but only like 21 of those are actual Sega games, and then you get stuff like chess, checkers, stuff like that, yeah. Solitaire. I don't know what all those type of games are, but they count those toward the 80. But they want to rival the Nintendo. You got a Nintendo console. It's just the stuff that they've done. I mean, the stuff that they do, it just doesn't make any sense. Like just navigating the menu. I love turning on the SNES Mini, and I hope Osvaldo Navarez loves turning on his SNES Mini, who won the contest.
He better.
and scrolling through the menu, it's just fun to pick a game. It's just kind of a delight, It's just a lot of fun to just kind of scroll through. It's kind of nostalgia, just scrolling through. It is a pain. Instead of just the simple up and down arrows on the D-pad, it's like B and C of the 6-button Sega controller to go up and down. It's weird stuff like that they do that just doesn't make sense.
So I'm going to argue for the Sega Mini, and I'm a Sega person. I loved my Sega stuff in the back of the day. The problem with what happened is the fact that they farmed out the building of their Sega Mini that's out now.
Point to come.
They farmed it out. Sega now is wanting to take control and build their own without AtGames involved whatsoever. They're wanting to build the console like they did back in the day, which we know Sega's been beating the ground so bad after the Dreamcast and everything that they got out of doing everything for a while, and that they've slowly come back into the market. I really think that they honestly could do it a little better. Because, I mean, they let AtGames do all controlling of it. They basically licensed it out to them and said, hey, here you go, have fun with it. And it was crap. I was talking to my GameStop GameStop friend, and he's like, oh, yeah, we had those in stock. We had to send them back because they didn't sell. They were just crap. They sent them back because they didn't sell at all. I'm not going to be leery on that because I really think that Sega can put out a good product. They proved it. They proved it with the Genesis. They proved it with the 32X, with the Sega CD, with the Sega Saturn. You know, even the Dreamcast was a great system. It was just way beyond its time.
They were killing it back in the 90s. But now they handed off the Mini to AtGames again. They originally said, I want to do it, but now they're handed off to the Mini, to AtGames. And so unless they come out with a Saturn and Dreamcast, which I'm hearing that they rumblings about, a Saturn or Dreamcast Mini, they got to do it themselves. But they handed off just the regular one. What is it? The Mini Drive. I never played the regular Master Drive Mega, or whatever.
Yeah,
it was. Master System.
Master System. I didn't play that original one either. I started with the Genesis, which I thought was kind of funny that you had the Master System and then the Genesis, and Genesis means beginning, so I just kind of laughed at that.
But my point is about Sega doing weird stuff. Why do you keep handing this off? Your other one didn't sell. This one doesn't sell. Why do you keep doing this? You're not going to compete. Nintendo has made 2 must-have systems, and you just said yourself GameStop had to turn theirs back in. Sega's in. I agree. If Sega made it themselves, it's going to be a better product. And the guy said, we want to get back in the hardware business, whoever the main guy at Sega is now. Mm-hmm. Starting with just because of the success of the SNES and NES Mini. So they want to do one now. And so do it, please. Everybody wants you to. It would be awesome to have 2 mini systems going to battle. But not if you give it to AtGames, you're gonna not sell it again.
Yeah, and that's what I'm reading here. It looks like they're going back with AtGames.
Yep.
But I mean, it's just
good job, Sega.
I just really hope that they don't do that.
They are.
So I don't know. It's just making me frustrated because the first time I read an article about it, they weren't going with AtGames. They were doing it themselves. They were doing it themselves, and now I see this article. It was April 18th date. The first article I read was late March, early April. So I'm just, if they let AtGames into doing it, then it's just going to be a failure. I mean, I will give them credit. It at least looks like the original Genesis. I mean, they showed a picture of it. It's the original Genesis that has the volume slider on the front and everything. Looked great. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they've learned their lesson, but it looks like Sega hasn't. It looks like they're just like, oh, we'll farm it out again.
It took the cartridge slot out too.
Yep, which is a smart move. I think you shouldn't have that in there. I mean, look at the Nintendo Mini and the SNES Mini. Neither one of them have a cartridge slot, and they're fantastic little systems.
But if they did, it'd be even better.
Yes and no. If you're gonna give me a cartridge slot, let me go buy an old school Nintendo. Let me just go buy an old school SNES.
No, you don't get the HD capability, and you don't have save states. If they allowed that to happen, and one thing that AtGames is doing though that's kind of cool is they're having that rewind. They have a rewind feature in the game. At any time in the game that you're playing, you can just rewind on the controller or whatever. Pause it, rewind, and it just rewinds your game. If you die, like I'm playing Mega Man or something, you can rewind it. Obviously not Mega Man on Sega, but that's kind of cool. I think is that coming out for? That's on the. I think that's on like the Mega Man Legacy game that I think you posted that. One of the Mega Man games that's coming out on cartridge or something for Switch.
Yeah.
For Switch, it's going to have the rewind feature. I think, if I read that correctly.
Yeah, the cartridge that I posted about is they're doing an anniversary edition of Mega Man X and Mega Man 2, I think. And they're putting new cartridges out. It's basically a new Nintendo cartridge and a new SNES cartridge.
Yeah.
And they're both like clear blue, and each one costs $100 a piece.
Yeah, that's
nothing new. And nothing new to the game. It's just the game re-released in this.
Yeah.
And so it's like, here you go. Here's you a new brand new cartridge. Now we're going to charge you $100 a piece for these.
Yeah,
when if I'm not mistaken, you said that the carts now, if you go buy
Mega Man
the original
2 is like
ones,
$25 now. It used to be way more. So Mega Mans have gone down. Ironically, I thought they would go up, but some of Mega Man 5's I think still the most expensive one, and it's probably $60, 50 or 60.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Let's see. I think that's all I got for the news, man. Did you got anything else with it?
I'm looking. I've got a few other things, or at least I thought I did. Let's see. Sorry guys, I'm having to use my phone as my device to give me my data and everything. Yeah, there's the cartridges. It's Mega Man 2 and Mega Man X, and they're blue cartridges. The only thing I'm gonna add in, I guess we'll just let it start to wind down from here, is just on the side note, we've got looks like Bill and Ted 3 is gonna happen. I want to bring that up just because I remember me and Hollywood going back to Bill and Ted's bogus journey,
Yep.
and going to watch that in the theater together. And our buddy that lived next door to us, he was like, "Oh man, I want to see it," and we basically recited the entire movie for him and ruined it for him. I remember doing that and spoiling it for him at his house.
I don't remember any of that.
So that was I remember doing it because we were sitting in like right, he had the stairs that went up to his bedroom right above the
house,
garage. Yeah, well, he was sitting right there in that little foyer area right before the stairs, sitting on one of the benches, and we basically told him everything that happened in the movie, and he just got upset, went up the stairs, slammed the door, and walked off, and we left.
I remember trying to go see it in the movie theater. You say it like a southerner, theater. I got called out by a bunch of folks one time. I said theater, man. You would have thought I said something like Yankees suck or something. But they all just jumped on me, dude. I was like, gosh, calm down. What do you call it? Theater. But yeah, I remember going to see that with or trying to go see the movie with my mom was taking me up there. I think it came out in like 91 or 2. It was,
I think 92.
And I think it was sold out or the movie wasn't working. There's a lot of times in Jackson where the movie just like, hey, we're having problems with our projector or whatever. So it's like, all right, well, and I was kind of bummed out. And I was like, well, hey, let's go rent the first one from Jitney Jungle. And it's like, okay, yeah, we can go get that. And I said, yeah, I hadn't seen that one yet. So we went and got that and watched that, and it was awesome. And
I forgot about Jitney Jungle. I forgot about Jitney Jungle having movies, but I remembered Super Value having movies. Do you remember Super Value having movies?
I don't remember. Oh, they had the little tab things.
They had movies way back in the day. It's like when I first moved to Forest. I remember that because I rented Land Before Time from there. That was the first time I saw Land Before Time.
Yeah, I vaguely remember. They had the little tab.
It was just card. Right there. Yep.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I remember that.
So, one other thing I want to say before we get off too is I want to give a shout out to somebody that I've been trying to help him get a little more viewers on his YouTube channel. Been playing Monster Hunter World with him a lot. He actually holds a couple world records in Monster Hunter, so go check him out. It's Grifted. I posted on there for him. Want to give him a little shout out just because he's doing a lot of work, and he's actually probably one of the best players right now that I know that plays with the hunting horn and Monster Hunter World. So it's a tough weapon to play with. He's created a YouTube page for it, and hopefully one day we'll have him and our other buddy Max on that they've set world records together. But
who is it?
Grifted, yeah, Griffted. He holds some solo world records, and then him and Max together hold a few world records as well in doubles. So go check them out. They've set some really cool They've got like, is it a sub 2 minute kill on Rathalos together?
Wow.
They're great, and right now he's on the hunt to try to do a sub 3 minute kill on Odegarin.
Yeah.
A solo. And all of these are, if I'm not mistaken, at least high rank, if not tempered. I think they're going tempered on those. So it's pretty, they do some pretty awesome stuff. Check them out. We play with them or I play with them pretty regularly. I know Hollywood's played with them some. So go check them out. Give them a subscribe. It's free to subscribe to them on YouTube. Let's help some of our other gamers in the community out as well if we can, guys.
Yeah, they seem like pretty cool people. I enjoy playing with them, and they said they wanted to be on the podcast at some point, right?
They did. They seemed excited about it, and another good thing is for the most part, when playing with them. The conversation stays pretty clean, except for when we get really late into the night. Now, when we start hitting the 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning stuff, we do start getting a little silly. But they're another type of people that you can play with that are pretty clean. And I'm willing to bet that all of what Griff did is put on his YouTube page is clean and safe for all of our listeners to go listen to as well.
So I didn't mention the contest again. So because I think we mentioned it on the Ready Player One.
I think so.
But see, some people didn't listen to that probably because it's got spoilers in it. So the contest is that if you can tell me the first Genesis game, or the only Genesis game I own right now, then you get a free game. That's all you got to do. Send me a text or whatever, or not a text, but a message on social media. And just tell me what it is. And this is for the fans and people that we talk to online. I would only say the people that are exempt from it are people that have been on the podcast, like Coach and Edgy.
Yeah.
And Rev. But everybody else, just because we've played together on PlayStation and you listen to the podcast and you enjoy it, man, this is what it's for. This is our reward to you. And in return, so don't feel bad about getting it, but in return, once we send you the game, and just tell somebody, hey, here's where I got the game. I got it from this podcast or whatever. That's what we're trying to do. We want it to be kind of talked about. That's kind of what we're getting for our money.
Yeah, shoot us a picture of you with the game,
exactly.
Or shoot us a picture of you starting up the game, something that we can post back and put on the Facebook page or put on Instagram and share with our people. Just let them know that we really do give stuff out. And if Osvaldo Navarez is listening, dude, send us a picture of you playing your system, man. That'd be great for us to share with our listeners to let them know that, hey, we're for real about this thing. We're going to give stuff away. We're going to get our listeners something to give back to them to say, hey, this is what we appreciate you listening to us all the time.
I believe Osvaldo Navarez is listening just as much as I believe Final Fantasy VII is coming out at the end of the year.
Oh my gosh, that's sad, man.
He's not
that's
listening,
sad.
I guarantee you.
Well, we know he's not. Because he even said that. Oh, I don't even remember entering that. That was one random thing that he did. So we know he's not listening. And we hate to pick on you, but buddy,
he's not listening. So
you won it. You won something that people talk a lot. So you're gonna get a little.
We're gonna have to give something else out like that. We are gonna go with some other contest, maybe something bigger than that. But the goal is just to get the podcast name out there, and
exactly.
And we like giving stuff away like that for that reason. But it's just fun to share some fun times with gamers, and particularly, Osvaldo and he has kids and all this, so I'm glad that they get to experience that. We can share
exactly.
That. I just wish that he would probably tell somebody where he got it.
Exactly.
I don't know. I just entered a contest on Facebook. That's probably what it's going to be.
That's all it's going to be. So it kind of. It kind of fell flat on what we were trying to accomplish on that one, but that was the rules of the contest, and he played by the rules and won by the rules. So,
so anyway, that's still out there. First Sega game, I keep saying first. It was the first Sega game I bought since I started to collect. So that's where I get that from. But it's my only Sega game. I got another thing I'm thinking about giving away too, and I posted it on the on Instagram, where it's just those little video game coasters.
Yeah.
It's just an NES game shaped coasters, and it's like, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 or 8 of them. Like, they're shaped like a little cartridge. They're flat, like Duck Hunt, Mario. Just a fun thing. That'll be a fun giveaway for something simple.
So I will say this: if I go to my GameStop And they have a specific pop there, which is a pretty popular pop right now. It's Hulk busting out of Hulkbuster armor. If they still have one of those, I will buy that and I will give it away on the podcast in some form or fashion.
Cool.
So, giving you that heads up if they have one. I've got one in my personal collection, and if I see that if they still have one left at the GameStop that I frequent, I'll pick it up, I'll bring it in, and I will let it be a giveaway on this, because it's an awesome looking pop. Go check it out online. It's actually a pretty valuable pop too, so go check it out, and if I can get a hold of one, I will put that up for auction. Or not for auction, but for a giveaway. I'll put it up for auction.
If you listen to our podcast, you can bid on it.
I wouldn't be that cold, so. But yeah, I definitely would like to give something like that away too, because that's something that I like to do, is collecting those pops. So if I can find a pop like that, and that's pretty cool, that's a little bit different out there, then I would definitely do that for y'all.
All right, cool. Well, stay checking up on us on the Facebook. You get a lot of our news that we got here every day, daily, probably 3 times a day. You always post a new post.
Yeah, I've got it set to where my buffer is pushing things out twice a day. If I see something really cool, I'll just auto push it straight in. So there's at least 2 items a day going to our Facebook page. Anywhere from 2 to about 5 items a day you're going to see in news. So go check it out. If you haven't liked us on Facebook, please like us on Facebook. Help us grow there. That helps us grow our listener base as well. So go like us on Facebook.
Yeah, leave us a review. Check us out. Leave us a review on Facebook or Podbean. We're
definitely
on Spotify
if you've listened
now,
to us.
So.
Yeah, if you're listening, please leave us a review somewhere, because it helps us grow. And the more we grow, the more we can do for you. So. All
right, cool. Well, that'll do it. Appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Take care, guys.
Later.